we're live at the backside of Churchill Downs getting ready for Breeders' Cup.
Breeders' Cup, I know nothing about, but hopefully you and PostMaster will fill us in. Where's PostMaster?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes he's late. I don't know what's going on.
Hey guys, I'm on a horse.
What?
Whoa. I'm on a horse. Whoa.
Where did you find? I mean, we're at Churchill Downs, but
turns out being on a horse, as you know, is epic. And this horse needed a rider. It's the number 7 horse in the next race. He's 80 to 1.
80 to 1 with you riding, you should be 180 to 1.
I obviously fit the bill, so make sure you put $2 on it because we're headed to the track.
Well, what about the show here?
I'll be back in what's it take? The fastest 2 minutes in sports? Give me 2 minutes and I'll see you in victory lane.
Well, I guess Postmaster's off to the races here on Triple Threat Talk.
Hi, come back with my horse!
Uh-oh. What happened?
What happened? Where's the horse?
I don't know, he got away. He threw me off and,
Well, it looks like there's going to be a scratch in the last race.
I think so.
You're supposed to hold on to the horse.
Sorry, I don't know.
Oh, amateur.
And welcome everyone to yet another exciting edition of Triple Threat Talk. Why are you shaking your head? This is exciting.
Well, 2 things I'm shaking my head on. 1, we went 7-6 this week, and 2, you didn't just beat us, you demolished us. All right, this is what I'll do. Like I do every week. I'm put on the screen. Really? 11-2? I think you rigged it.
Yeah,
He rigged his own pick.
Yeah,
How does he rig that?
Something happened. Something's going on over there. 11-2. Oh,
The man has a good week. Leave him alone.
Good
Hey,
week.
have a good week. Have a good
Good
week.
job.
Hey, thank
At
you.
least I'll give you
A
props.
couple of fails this week by us, especially Tim fail. Get to him later.
Yeah, we'll get
But
there.
I mean, it could have been better for everybody if St. Louis hadn't choked.
Oh,
You mean
We'll reveal the new nickname for the Clams later.
Yeah, they have a new nickname.
Yeah, they do, but they got a new nickname with
But
us.
before we review anything, and before we get to any topic, we do have our favorite, the viewer questions.
Yeah.
So kicking it off this week, against all odds, 20. In a match of epic legends, who would win? The Great Muta versus The Undertaker.
I'll say The Undertaker. I kind of think that the Phenom is the Phenom.
I mean, I don't know if everyone knows who the Great Mood is. I'm not too positive on who he is. I'm aware of him, but I'm not aware of how his legacy has been.
He's like, he's from the New Japan Wrestling, I believe, from long ways back. He was the original user of the Spitty Green.
But you put there's like maybe 2%. It's a very small percentage of people that are better than the Undertaker in the history of wrestling. I mean, you could put almost anybody into Undertaker, and I'd pick Taker, except for maybe like Shawn Michaels and a few others. So
I say The Undertaker. Moving on to the second question by Against All Odds.
Another one.
Who would win in this epic battle?
This is a good one, I mind you. This is a good one.
The Legion of Doom versus the Kings of Wrestling.
Oh, gosh. I would think the Legion of Doom, just because those guys were everywhere. They won so many championships. They were just so good.
I mean, not to take anything away from the Kings of Wrestling, Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli. Again, you take Kings of Wrestling in their prime against LOD in their prime, no contest, LOD.
Wow, what a rush! That's my answer.
That sounds like Louis Armstrong to me.
I know.
I see trees of green.
Anyway, you sound like Kermit the Frog now.
I got a bag on that.
What are your all's feelings on the WWE 12 DLC Pack 1?
For the most part, it's a fail because you have Michael Cole, JR, and of course the best person in the pack is Shawn Michaels. But again, if they did like they do last year where you can buy them individually, more people are probably just going to buy Shawn Michaels than Michael Cole and JR. But it'd be kind of cool to have Michael Cole do some things in WWE12 and you can make fun of him or whatever. So.
Right. Speaking of DLC, just real quick, since we sported it a couple weeks ago, DLC 1 for Arkham City is now available.
Nightwing.
Yep.
All right. From FWA Owner 22.
Oh, okay.
LSU or Alabama? Who you got?
I'm going to talk about it later.
Okay.
It's going to. Don't worry. Hang on. I'm not spiting your question. I'm going to answer it in depth under the NCAA spot.
I'm going to answer right now. I go Crimson Tide.
Roll Tide Roll.
Yeah, I think Alabama.
Undead Warrior 75.
He's back.
Why isn't The Rock in the Hall of Fame? What's going on?
He's still active.
He's still active. Again, you'd figure it'd be this year just because they're in Miami, but he's still wrestling. So whenever The Rock decides to say, I'm done, I'm not coming back, then they'll probably wait a little bit to induct him.
Okay, I totally disagree with your point and your point. And reason being, Jim Ross is still active. He's in the Hall of Fame. Jerry Lawler's still active. He's in the Hall of Fame. Hulk Hogan's still active, although it's not with WWE.
Right.
He's in the Hall of Fame. Ric Flair's in the Hall of Fame. He's still active.
Yeah.
So, to your point of being active, that doesn't count.
Well, maybe just to counter your point, maybe they'll induct him this year in Miami then.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that they probably will, but like, you got to look at the roles. You know, JR and Jim Ross were both. You know, they wanted to get them early because, you know, let's face it, they're not getting any younger. I think they wanted to live to see their inductions.
Yeah.
And as for the other two, Flair and Hogan, I think that they were just there in the right place at the right time. They decided to go to TNA after they were inducted, so at the time they were inactive for the WWE.
And another thing I bring back to Hall of Fame is it's going to be tough because the class this year, you expect them to have Randy Savage, and you figure someone like them, they want him to lead the class, so they don't know if they're going to add The Rock in the show. I don't know.
I think The Rock very well could.
I think you're looking at a possible induction.
Right. It'd be kind of. I wouldn't want to take away from Savage. That would be kind of unfair.
Okay, so a loaded question of all loaded questions. This may take half the show to answer this question.
Okay.
Why do you guys not bring up CB?
Who wants to take this one?
I mean, we should all take it.
Who wants to start?
What? I just don't see why we should get involved. I mean, yeah, we're semi-professionals at what we do. I think we have a lot of great insight and a lot of angles you're not going to see at other places. But we're trying to keep the show, not that we're trying to, in my opinion, I don't think we're trying to belittle other organizations at all, but we like to stay on the WWE's good side because they are top-notch. They are the peak, and if they don't want to mention CB, we're not going to mention CB.
I mean, obviously, no one's a stranger to what happened in 2007?
Yeah, 2006, 2007.
That was 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, know what happened, and I don't blame WWE for not bringing up that person's name at all. I mean, there have been some articles on WWE.com where they mention him because you can't ignore the fact that he was a wrestler there for a period of time. Mm-hmm. But to bring it up, and then, because I guarantee you, if he did bring it up, there'd be like so many comments commenting, why'd you mention Chris Benoit? Don't mention that guy. Oh, sorry. Don't mention that. Well, come on now. Don't mention that guy. We don't want to hear about it just because it's been done. I mean, he was a great wrestler, to be honest with you. He was one of the best. But, again, what he did, no one wants to talk about it anymore. It was a horrible, horrible thing. That's why he's just left out.
And that's why we don't talk about him. I mean, it's out of respect to, like the doctor said, to the WWE, to the wrestling fans that were disgraced by the actions that Benoit did. It's out of respect to the entire wrestling community. I mean, yes, like you all said, he was a very good wrestler in his day. He was a world champion. He was a member of the later version of the Four Horsemen. I mean, he was very good in his prime, and it was a tragedy that happened. It's just mainly out of the respect to the certain fans, the WWE, and the wrestling community is why we try to alleviate from discussing Chris Benoit at all.
Absolutely.
If possible. So, from the Michael Cage, is DWA coming back?
Yes!
Whoa! Whoa! Why'd you answer that?
Why not?
Shouldn't we have waited, surprise people?
We already told them it was coming back.
We didn't say when or how.
Well, I didn't say when either.
Okay, yeah, the doctor, the cat, it's out of the bag. DWA is coming back. But we will surprise you when and where and with what. More details coming in the next coming weeks. Obviously, something big is coming soon.
I'm going to play the role of the villain, though, real quick, because of my role on the show. The doctor's order is going to be back and raising more hell.
Yeah, no one cares about that.
Oh, shit.
Well, anyways, the DWA is coming back, so obviously I know people on this channel look forward to that, because I get questions every week about that. So.
Okay, what the is wrong with Kevin Nash?
What?
That was the question. Okay, what the is wrong with Kevin Nash?
It's kind of a loaded question.
I'm not sure there was anything ever wrong with him.
I don't know. It's kind of a hard question to answer.
He's got some health problems, but clearly they're working past him.
I don't really get the question and what is wrong with him. I mean, who was the viewer, Michael Cage?
I think what he means is, because a couple weeks ago we alluded to some health problems to Kevin Nash.
Right.
To my understanding,
I think he means his psycho ability.
Well,
The way he
Why you
acted
attack
last
Triple H?
week, yeah.
Triple H? I mean, if that's what you mean, for why you attack Triple H, obviously he sees Triple H in someone in power. He doesn't like that Triple H is higher than him because they were best friends. They were equals years ago. Maybe that's why he's trying to knock him off his pedestal. I don't know.
It's money.
And to continue the storyline, supposedly he was re-signed by WWE, but we all know he was
still
already signed with WWE.
Whatever.
So. Okay, here's a good question. Who is your all-time favorite wrestler, diva, and tag team?
Wow.
Shawn Michaels, because he's just epic. Sonny, because my God was that woman hot. And Demolition for tag team.
Okay, Shawn Michaels again. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be with these two. I wouldn't have done DWA if it wasn't for Shawn Michaels. Diva in the sense of like a valet type, definitely Sonny. Wrestling wise, I have to go with Mickie James. And then tag team, love Legion of Doom.
I'd have to say diva. I'm kind of torn between Sonny and this is for all the men that come to see me and all the women who want to be me. Mrs. Sable. I'm
Rena Lesnar now.
Rena Lesnar. Favorite tag team of all time? Wow, that's a definite. I would have to say one of my favorite tag teams growing up as a kid, and no, it wasn't the Bushwhackers.
Weren't you the third Bushwhacker?
No. One of my favorite tag teams growing up was, and even though it was a short-lived tag team, was definitely the Mega Powers.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. But if I had to pick a tag team that was together for a long period of time, I would have to say the Hart Foundation.
There you go.
Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Bret the Hitman Hart. I mean, you got to start. And as far as favorite wrestler, wow, there's so many. Shawn Michaels is up there, but he's definitely not my number one favorite of all time. Until Hulk Hogan became a jackass, he was my number one. Gosh, probably The Rock. The Rock's probably my number one favorite. I mean, I've watched it since the 80s, but nobody's as electrifying as The Rock. So,
Okay.
From the CAW interviewer,
Oh, okay.
do you think Brodus Clay will live up to the hype he is getting? Oh my God!
What hype? What
I
hype?
guess all these promos.
If you see in the promos, Brodus Clay, he's fighting nobody. There's nobody that's in the roster. They're all like people they get off the street or in FCW that are just training. Just throw Brodus Clay.
I think he's fighting Jamie.
It's like throwing a big strong. What'd you say?
Jamie Noble.
It's like with Brodus Clay, it's like throwing a powerful lion a wounded deer. He's just giving somebody to beat him, make him look big. I mean, yeah, Brodus Clay was with Alberto Del Rio as his like bodyguard, but there's no big hype here for Brodus Clay yet. Wait till he comes back, faces people that are more established, bigger guys like Mark Henry, people like that. Then we'll see what Brodus Clay does.
I think I'm in that video getting beat up. Brodus Clay.
I think Domo was too.
So from JB11,
JBL.
2011, why hasn't Drew McIntyre, the next big thing,
The chosen one.
exactly, gotten a push?
I think he had his push,
Yeah.
and he kind of blew it. I think he will be being pushed again because personally, I've been on record on this show saying Wade Barrett is probably my favorite right now, but close behind him is definitely Drew McIntyre.
I think I said before on the show that with WWE they have like a certain thing where they push people a certain time, then they just give up with them. And Drew McIntyre is kind of them. I mean, I followed Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in FCW, and it seems like those two are going to be the two biggest guys. Obviously, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, good friends in FCW, but obviously Sheamus got the huge push to the top. And Drew McIntyre looked like he might have been pushed to the top. He was Intercontinental Champion, but then he just started going back and back and back. And now Drew McIntyre is barely on SmackDown. He's on Superstars most of the time. So
Yeah, I agree. I don't foresee him getting a push anytime soon. I mean, it looked like he was going to have his push there for a while. It looked like they were going to build him up to be, a champion, and it just hasn't panned out. So,
right.
Do you think all WWE games are the same yearly, just new graphics?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, they add new features every year.
Yeah.
I don't mean to get kind of X-rated, but for a while there was no Raw and Panty match.
well, there isn't anymore.
Well, there's not anymore, but then they brought it back. Then they did the my personal favorite. I love the Elimination Chamber matches. Those are awesome.
I mean, to JB11's question, you could make that point for 06 through 11 because it was pretty much the same gameplay, a little bit of updated graphics here and there, but the way 12 looks with the different camera angles and all the things they're doing with it to make it more realistic, to make it feel like an actual WWE programming match, this is the year I definitely would say the WWE game is one of the better ones.
I agree. I mean, yeah, there was years where everything kind of looked the same. They were just kind of updating the roster and changing a few things here and there. But WWE 12 definitely looks like a big improvement. Looks a little different than the previous year, so it should be a good one.
All right.
And the final question, JB11 2011 is laying down the gauntlet.
To who?
Not on you, not on me, on you.
On me?
On you.
All right, what's the question here? What's the challenge?
It is an open challenge, an open invitation to the Big B. He wants to take on you in WWE 12. He says he can whip your candy, you know what.
What's my answer to that?
What's your answer?
First of all, I'd say you're not worth my time.
Whoa!
But second of all, I take on all comers. You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me in WWE 12? You got it.
There's your answer, KB11.
Who are you gonna face?
2011.
I don't know. Will you face Sheamus? Will you face Cody Rhodes? Or what do you think?
I think we should make a little stipulation here, Postmaster.
Okay.
I think so too.
I
What do
think
you
nobody. I think you can't use. Neither one of you can use anyone whose overall is less than 80, or who's more than 80. I'm sorry.
So anything lower than 80.
Yeah, you have.
So
to
basically,
use
it's a
both
Divas
of you.
match.
No.
Both of you have to use somebody lower than 80.
I say 85.
You say 85?
85. Nothing lower than 85. Because
I'm going to meet you in the middle. Just because I'm a bargainer and a talker, I'm going to go 83.
Okay, but I'm just saying, who are you going to face? Are you going to face Sheamus, Cody Rhodes, or are you going to face the DWA Heavyweight Champion, Lance Burton? So we'll see who you're going to face.
Lance fail.
Whoa. Sorry, I can't work like that.
So with that being said, that is the viewer questions. And now to honor our weekly viewer of the week.
Take it away.
Our viewer of the week this week goes to Smokes the Man. That is our viewer of the week.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is? Well, this person is an avid viewer of the show.
Okay.
They watch it weekly. They give me personal insight. They do not have a YouTube account, therefore they don't leave comments or questions on YouTube. However, they do ask me questions and give me comments to relate to you all, and I have numerous of times. So, Smokes the Man's, congratulations, you are our viewer of the week. So, moving on to the topics of the week, and what better way to start the topics than the new world champions, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Just an awesome performance. Of course, last week on the show, I said if there was a rain out, the Cardinals were going to win. And that's what happened.
Yep. Again, you know, if you watch the World Series, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched Game 6 and 7. That was the most exciting 2 games I've ever watched in baseball. It seems like if you go all the way back to August of this year, the Cardinals, I mean, obviously the Braves helped them a little bit, but the Cardinals were 10.5 games back in the wild card, and they fought. They had some help, but they fought to make it into the playoffs. And then, if it wasn't any indication to anybody, on Game 6, when they were down to the last strike twice in that game, and ended up coming back and winning, it was their destiny to win the World Series.
It was.
I've heard of cats having 9 lives, but Cardinals having 9 lives? Really? I think that was the case. And, I mean, what a way to go out, like you said. If you didn't watch Game 6, find it.
Yeah.
Watch it. One of the greatest baseball games I've ever seen. I mean, back and forth, like Big B said, down to their last strike and their last out. Not once, but twice. And they win in extra innings. And then Game 7, great performance by the Cardinals. Way to gut it out. Congratulations, Albert Pujols. Congratulations, David Freese.
MVP.
The MVP.
Hometown kid.
And also, I guess congratulations are in order. What a way to go out for Mr. Tony La Russa. He goes out on top, number 1.
33 years.
33 years, 3 World Series championships, multiple appearances other than those 3. So congratulations, Tony La Russa,
Probably
on
the
that.
greatest baseball manager ever lived.
One of the best, definitely. So I guess that wraps up baseball for this year. I know your Mets didn't quite pan out to you wanted them
Did they
to.
ever?
I mean, I'll get into it real quick. I'm not going to delve too much into it, but obviously the Mets had some financial issues because they were involved in that thing with Bernie Madoff, so
Kind of like the Dodgers.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously next season there's a lot of freedom, but baseball's way off, so we'll see.
And my Braves folded like a beach chair.
They did.
It was
They did.
blatantly obvious.
Thanks to the Braves, the Cardinals went to the World Series.
There you go. So you're welcome, St. Louis. We handed you the playoffs.
Anyway,
So moving on to our weekly NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
I'm going left.
Yeah. Chase update. As you can see, I'm supporting my man this week, Tony Stewart.
Is that product placement?
It could be. The winner this past week of the Tums Fast Relief 500 at Martinsville Speedway.
Tums.
Absolutely. Is that product placement?
Maybe.
Cutting Carl Edwards' lead to 8 points. And in the post-race interview, they said, Tony, how about this for a stat? 3 races to go. You're 8 points away from championship leader Carl Edwards. What do you feel about that? And he said, all I got to say is he better look out because I'm not going to make it easy the next 3 weeks. And if I know anything, I know my man is one tough SOB. And Carl Edwards better look out. Jimmy Johnson, he's done. He's out. Kevin Harvick has a mathematical shot. He's 21 behind. But I think, fellas, with 3 to go and what tracks we have left, this is a 2-horse race, and I said it from the beginning, and I'll say it now. I'm riding my man to the end. He's coming on strong. His 3rd win in the chase out of 7 starts, 7 chase races, and 3 wins. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Nobody take that out of context, please.
You would have
He was going to go the minute you said I saw it in his eyes.
No.
But, again, props to Tony Stewart for hanging in there towards the end.
Hey, he's a hell of a racer.
I mean, obviously it is gonna come down to Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. Does Carl Edwards have enough to pull it out in the end and keep the win for the Sprint Cup? I think he does, but Tony Stewart's gonna make it tough on him.
I mean, he's going to make it real tough. So, I'll tell you what was tough, though. And that is the slate of NCAA football games we had this week.
There was a lot that happened, including, we would personally on this show like to congratulate Joe Paterno for becoming the all-time winningest D1 coach in history. Joe Paterno.
Joe Pie.
The only coach that can get the winningest record by sitting in a recliner in the press box.
Wasn't he around when football first started?
I think so.
Originally when it first created?
I actually think he was around when James Naismith created basketball.
Did he used to take a dinosaur to the field?
I think
I'll tell
so.
you what, I think those glasses get about a centimeter thick each year, too.
No, we love Joe Pie.
Yeah, Joe Paterno and the Penn State Nittany Lions defeat Illinois
Nittany.
10-7.
Exciting game.
Hell of a game. Arkansas, moving on to an SEC matchup. Arkansas completely finds that leprechaun again and dodges Lady Luck and rides Lady Luck actually, winning narrowly over Vandy 31-28. OSU once again proving how overrated Wisconsin is, 33-29 in that one. And guys, the Badgers are just bad.
And speaking of that, after a big win the week before in beating the Badgers, Michigan State, they come out and lay a clunker and get beat this week.
Yeah, they I don't know what happened with Michigan State. They're hard for me to pick because I really want to put them in the Big Ten BCS Bowl berth, but I just can't. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I tell you what, it's going to be hard to. It's going to be hard for me to come off of Michigan. It really is.
Props to Louisville this week.
Yeah, really.
For beating Syracuse, a very big win, who had just come off thumping West Virginia, and Louisville comes in and lays the wood on Syracuse. Kentucky, unfortunately, not so much. Morgan Newton hurt. Freshman quarterback Maxwell Smith is in. He played good.
He did. He played well. Kentucky played well in that game. They just made some very bad coaching decisions and not going for touchdowns when they should. I think game of the week, bar none, was Stanford and USC.
Absolutely, yes.
Three overtimes it took for them to win, 56-48. There are basketball games that don't have that high of a score.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just...
I agree.
Andrew Luck took on,
56-48.
what's the quarterback's name for USC?
Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley, right. And they said, I mean, obviously I think he was a top prospect to begin with, but they said that game against Stanford put Matt Barkley in the top 10 for the NFL draft next year. So.
And now, to answer FWA owner's question from the beginning, I'm going to go with my co-host and say Alabama, but here's why. Alabama has a pro defense. They are 5-star loaded all the way to about halfway through their second string, and then from there, it goes to 4 stars. I mean, they just don't have a bad kid on their team. There are pro teams that want their defense. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, though, neither team has played anything like what the other's going to bring, i.e., Alabama has not played as high of an octane offense as LSU has, and LSU has not played as big of a defense as it's going to be with Alabama. But the key for me here is Alabama's run game. LSU's defense is good. They're not Alabama good. They are going to wear them out with that running game, tire them down, and that is why I think Alabama's not only going to win, but they're going to win by 10 or more.
Okay.
All right. And let's not forget, guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, but last week, weren't we still in October?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia and Rutgers played in an absolute blizzard. I mean,
The Buzzard Bowl.
That was just ridiculous.
I was like, wow.
Where did that storm come from?
I don't
It came out of
know.
nowhere.
I was like, this is crazy.
I mean,
was like,
again, if you don't know, there was a huge storm between 10 to 15 inches in the Northeast, just destroying huge.
It was crazy. And like I said, the West Virginia Rutgers game was on national ESPN. And watching that game, it was just a driving snowstorm. I mean, they had to get a freaking Zamboni out there to clear the field, for God's sake. So, I mean, but that was definitely entertaining to watch. West Virginia did pull that out. And so that was a good win for them. West Virginia, speaking of that, I know last week we had said West Virginia got the bid. But after the show, it was retracted
It came out that it was retracted, and now it's back again.
It's back again.
I don't know. We don't know what's going on.
And now today, the Big East has sent invitations to SMU, Houston, and Boise State, Air Force, Navy, and
One other school
that's slipping my mind. Memphis.
Memphis, there we go. And the last one and the first two are going to be all sports, and then Air Force, Navy, and Boise are football only.
Yeah, so we'll see if they accept those invitations.
We'll know Friday.
And West Virginia is suing the Big East.
Yes, they are.
They're having a lawsuit going on.
Because they're saying that TCU accepted the bid to the Big East
And then retracted.
before even coming, so they're trying to use
They're
that
trying
as
to get the
ground.
buyout fee is what they're trying to
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. So we'll see what all becomes of that. So college football is definitely picking up, is heating up, and now I guess we can move from the college ponies, not quite to the professional NFL ponies, but the four-legged ponies.
The four-legged ponies.
And that is the Breeders' Cup.
There we go. I love this time of year because the first time Churchill Downs opens, it's the Derby. The second time, we hope it's going to start being Breeders' Cup. It has been the last 2 years.
Yeah, I'm as close to this topic as a fan of the TNA event.
Well, I guess he can kind of feel like we feel when it comes to tennis.
Yeah.
Well, you chime in.
Yeah.
Well, I chime in because I have to, because I know a little bit. But you could chime in. I mean, you can say, "Well, the jockeys are small."
Oh.
You know.
And the horses have 4 legs.
Those horses are pretty.
That horse's name is cool.
Speaking of pretty, let's go over a few races here. We won't bore you with all of them, but a few of big. The Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic on Friday features the Kentucky Oaks winner, Plum Purdy, coming back to the track where she absolutely dominated in the Oaks.
Wasn't even close.
Do you see a repeat here? I mean, she's got some tough.
I don't know. Goldakova's in that field, isn't she?
No, she is not.
She is not in the ladies juvenile.
What is
No, you have It's Tricky, Medaglia Diamore, Mismatch, Patch Attack,
Patch Attack?
Royal Delta, Satan's Quick Chick, and Super Espresso and Ultra Berlin.
Do you know what Plum Pretty's odds are?
I believe they're morning line 2-1, but I'm not sure.
2-1, those are good.
2-1. I'm thinking that if Plum Pretty doesn't come around with it, I think it's definitely going to be Mismatch. Mismatch is probably going to be in the top 3. She's had a great year. She ran at Santa Anita, had some pretty good times, and I think this may be her first go around on something other than Polytrack, but I'm not sure about that. But I think that they've definitely come out with some pretty good races on her.
Okay.
That's definitely probably the biggest race on Friday. Listening to John Asher, if you folks don't know who that is, he's kind of higher up with the Churchill Downs Incorporated today.
Mm-hmm.
He said he looks for Friday to be very formful, a lot of favorites coming in, so it kind of makes Friday's card a little wishy-washy. But Saturdays where the big boys play, it's wide open. And let's start with the 2-year-olds in the Grey Goose Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
And for those of you who follow the Derby, this is where it begins. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Classic, no matter where it is, no matter when it is, it starts the field up because there's about 1,500 Derby contenders at the beginning of each year. They narrow it down to 20. This year's going to be an exciting group of horses.
Your 2-to-1 morning line favorite is definitely and well-deservedly Union Rags.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very good horse. Union Rags, trained by Michael Matz. I'm not sure the rider, but he has been unstoppable as a 2-year-old in the early going. Definitely well-deserved the favorite, but I'm kind of looking elsewhere here. I'm looking at a horse named Drill. It is a Steve Asmussen horse, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Drill is a good horse, but you have other horses in there.
The one that I'd had my eye on for a while was Prospective, and I think that Prospective definitely had a couple rough starts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where the Breeders' Cup is definitely, like we said, it's going to start. It separates the boys from the men in the horse world, and I think Prospective has what it takes. He has good speed. He has good stamina. What worries me about Prospective is the starting gate time.
Right.
And I think that's what's gonna.
And I know one horse in there I definitely won't take because of the name alone. I'm like, there's no way. It's called Take Charge Indy. There's nothing taking charge with that horse, so I'm not taking that horse at all. Probably the horse to watch, and definitely the horse that'll get the most eyeballs, is definitely Goldacova. Going for her impressive third consecutive Breeders' Cup victory. Should be a good race with her to see if she can pull that off. The Breeders' Cup Mile features a very good horse in Shackelford.
Rusty Shackle.
Shackelford is definitely another horse that'll be on people's minds and checking that out. So before we move on here, also if you want to check all this out, check out the contenders, get some past performance videos, stats, go to breederscup.com. They have all that information for you if you want to handicap the races. ChurchillDowns.com, TVG.com, all this information. If you're a horse fan, definitely go to those websites and check that out. But the Breeders' Cup Classic looks like, according to the odds here, Mike Battaglia, your odds maker for the Breeders' Cup, made Uncle Mo your 5-2 morning line favorite, and Haverday Grace 3-1 second choice, which a shocker with Haverday Grace. And I was telling the doc earlier, they have replaced Chantel Sutherland with Ramon Dominguez, and I can't figure out why.
I can't figure it out either because that was a draw.
Right.
That was one of the draws to the race, having a female jockey.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, that was a big thing. You know, they've advertised it. They spent hundreds of $1,000s on a marketing campaign advertising Chantel being the jockey on Haverty Grace,
right.
And all of a sudden they pull her.
Even on the radio ads, it was Chantel Sutherland and Haverday Grace, and it was like...
so there's something going on there. Maybe she catches a hitch from a jockey and maybe gets sick. I don't know. But it's definitely an interesting story, and as more comes on, we'll talk about it next week when we talk about the results of the Breeders' Cup.
Absolutely. My long shot for the Breeders' Cup Classic is definitely Icebox. He was my Derby horse. He come running late, finished second. He's back at the track where he finished second in the Derby 2 years ago. I like that come late mentality and flying up and hopefully getting in the money. Icebox. I'll take the Icebox Uncle Mo Exacta.
I think I'm going to go for the Classic. I'm going to box a trifecta. I think it's going to be Uncle Mo, Haverty Grace, and Ruler on Ice. I think they've all got it going, and I think if you had to press me for a first place finish, it's going to be Haverty Grace.
Big B?
Well, what were we talking about?
I think Big B's ready to move on to the NFL. So let's move on to the NFL and recap Week 8.
Like we said last, we're going to pick our mid-season awards here.
All right, so Week 8 mid-season awards here.
Right.
Who do you all think is the best team right now?
Green Bay.
Green Bay, they're undefeated. They're playing great. This is the first time Green Bay's 7-0 since 1962.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay's playing awesome.
Green Bay, definitely.
All right, what about your most disappointing team?
It's not going to be who you think it is.
Okay.
I know you're thinking the Eagles, but I think, truth be told, it's probably the Cardinals because they base so much on picking up Kevin Cobb. And when you saw that shot of Larry Fitzgerald at the end of, if you did not see the Baltimore Ravens Cardinals game, which we'll talk about here in a second, there was a close-up of Larry Fitzgerald about midway through the fourth quarter when he was on the sideline, just had his head down. I've never seen Larry Fitzgerald that demeanored, ever. And I think that he knows that was a bad decision. And I am thankful that Kevin Cobb did not go to San Francisco.
Right.
I think the St. Louis Lambs.
Do you really do a game right now?
Well, because if you remember, I think we all said they had a very good shot of winning the NFC West.
Well, I didn't, but...
And we all said that they could make the playoffs. They were coming off a very good year, but they've had injury trouble. Sam Bradford has been injured. They just haven't performed well, although they did beat the Saints, which was a shocker.
Nobody picked that up. I highly doubt it.
But definitely the Rams. My Colts, look.
Yeah, that's another story.
You can't really say they're the biggest disappointment because going into the season, you didn't know how long Peyton Manning would be out. And then when you found out he'd be out the rest of the season, it was kind of expected. Was 0-8 expected? No. Honestly, no. I mean, we kidded and said, they're going 0-16. They're not going to win
Looks
again.
like it.
But I think they might very well go 0-16. So, no.
My most disappointing team, I didn't think they were going to be very good, but I'm still surprised they have no wins yet. It's the Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 0-7.
They definitely gave one away last year.
Yeah, the Dolphins should have beat the Giants, but the Giants came back and won. The Dolphins 0-7, very disappointing. They have Reggie Bush on their team, who I think is an excellent playmaker. They have pretty good receivers. I thought Chad Henne was playing good as a quarterback. Obviously, they decided to bench him in favor of Matt Moore, right? Mm-hmm. Matt Moore. And Tony Sparano, he's probably gone. But very disappointing to see the Dolphins 0-7.
And this just in case you all didn't know, the Steelers have a defense.
Oh, okay.
And if you didn't
That's
know,
a shock.
proof in the pudding this past Sunday,
right.
They shut down Tom Brady. Looked absolutely impressive. They look like the Super Bowl representatives from the AFC side of the ball this past week. The score was a lot closer than what the game was. The Steelers just absolutely dominated that game from all aspects, from the start to finish. And how often is it a team can say they got a safety on Tom Brady?
Right.
That's
a couple more awards here. Who's your most surprising team?
The 49ers.
The 49ers. Bar none.
I think I'll get to him in a second, but I think most surprising team is probably the Bengals. You can go back and watch our football.
True.
You can go back and watch our football special. We laughed, we cracked jokes. We said the Bengals might win 1 or 2 games. They are 5-2 and right at the top of the AFC North. No one expected them to be this good.
I agree with him.
I think the 49ers, to see what Jim Harbaugh has done with that
he's
team.
up in my pick for Coach of the Year.
I don't see how he's not a lock. But with what he's done with that team, practically overnight, coming off of a weird season where we didn't even know there was going to be football, I think what he's done with the addition of 4 key players, it's pretty much the same team that Singletary had, but there are so many differences. And to tell you, if you would have told me what I'm about to say last year, I would have put you in a crazy bin. Colin Cowherd has come out and said that Alex Smith is one of the top 5 best quarterbacks playing currently in the NFL.
That's an absolute joke.
It is. And I tell you what, I don't think it is a joke. He is playing so well. He has the least picks out of any starting quarterback. He doesn't have the yardage. He doesn't have the run. He doesn't have anything else. But the way he is managing the games, the way he is making plays, the way he is making good decisions, last year I was the head of the Fire Alex Smith Right Now committee. I agree with Colin.
I mean, obviously, I think the reason no one's really paying attention to Alex Smith is because their defense is playing so well and shutting down offenses, and Frank Gore's playing pretty well, so I don't think anyone's really paying attention to Alex Smith. And I definitely disagree with Colin Cowherd saying he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks.
There's no way.
No way.
No way. There's 5
So
guys.
many.
You can name like 5 right off the top without even mentioning
Yeah.
Alex
Yeah.
Smith. So.
I'm just saying I think it's a good thing, and I often hear I'm the one that offers an outside perspective. I think when you look at the proof, and the proof is in the pudding. 6-1. He's managing his game. When you look at good quarterbacks, you don't necessarily look at stats. Alex Smith's definitely not going to win you fantasy games. No. Not by a long shot. But when you look at a good quarterback, and Charlie Strong, your coach, down the street says it all the time, good quarterback is one that manages games, makes good decisions, and manages plays. Alex Smith is doing all 3 of those things. He's not getting you the yards. He's not getting you the points. It's coming from Frank Gore and Kendall Hunter. But I think Colin Cowherd's on point, and I for one's going to agree with him. I think he's definitely top.
Okay, just a quick combined. We're going to get to the games here. Who's your Rookie of the Year and your MVP? Real quick.
Rookie of the Year, definitely Cam Newton.
Who's your MVP?
MVP is going to be tough. I got to put it to Arian Foster right now. Though.
Who do you got?
Rookie of the Year, definitely Cam Newton. MVP, Aaron Rodgers. No way.
Rookie of the Year could be a toss-up between Cam Newton and Andy Dalton. And then MVP, I don't see anyone being bigger MVP candidate right now than Aaron Rodgers. So,
real quickly here, who makes the playoffs? Jets or Bengals?
Jets.
Bengals.
Bengals.
And you also said if we could change one pick this week in our Super Bowl, we still going to do that? Super Bowl picks?
I mean, I picked the Jets and the Eagles.
Are you sticking with that?
I take the Eagles out. I leave the Jets in. I think the Jets are going to go down the stretch. NFC-wise, Packers, 49ers, Lions, one of those 3.
I said Falcons and Steelers to begin the year, and I'm sticking with what I'm picking.
All right, so say the Falcons.
I said Philly and Baltimore. I'm keeping Baltimore in.
I would definitely keep Baltimore.
I'm keeping Baltimore in. I'm taking Philly out. They're going to still make the playoffs, I think. I think, however, it's going to be... I want to say the 49ers
I know you do.
so
I know you
bad.
do.
I just don't see... If maybe we catch Aaron Rodgers on a good game, on a bad game...
Really, on a good game, really?
It's every week.
If you catch him on a good game, you're in trouble. So
Yeah.
that's every week. He doesn't have a bad game.
It's hard for me not to pick the Packers. I'm taking them out and putting the Packers.
Okay.
Packers, Ravens, and I'm going to have the Ravens win.
So now let's get to the Week 9 matchup this week. And the first matchup we have is the Atlanta Falcons against the Indianapolis My Little Ponies.
Top dino over here. Pay attention.
Was it Atlanta versus Indy?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go with kidding. I'm going with
Whoa.
Atlanta. I'm going with Atlanta.
The Falcons, they're getting a little bit better, playing better football. But I'm sorry, PostMaster, the Colts will not win a game this year. Falcons win.
Atlanta. The Buffalo Bisons and the New York Crop Dusters.
Because they're at home, I'm going with Buffalo.
Jets, Jets.
The Jets are an epic fail, and your pick is an epic fail. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
Rex Ryan will be offended.
The Cowgirls versus the Sea Chickens.
Cowgirls.
I'm going to start calling the C fails. They looked abysmal against the Bungles at home. 34-12. God, Cowgirls. And I know we usually don't mention the lines here, but I saw this morning Dallas is 12 points on the minus 12 against Seattle.
The Miami Dolphin Tails versus the
Kansas City
Chiefs.
Chefs.
Christian Ponder's on a roll. I think.
Whoa!
Miami!
Miami! My bad. I gotta start listening.
Whoa, wait.
Sorry
Did Christian
about
Ponder get traded?
I guess so.
Kansas City.
Maybe he went through.
And this-
started to get Christian.
All right. Everyone makes a mistake.
It's San Francisco.
Kansas City.
Whoa. Yeah, definitely. Miami is a dolphin tail fail. Go Kansas City Chefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. New Orleans, when the Saints go marching in, who come off a abysmal performance against the St. Louis
Lambs
versus the Tampa Bay.
Watch your Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay got them week 1, or the meeting 1. They're not going to get them this time. New Orleans is out for.
Is New Orleans at home?
Yes.
I believe so.
New Orleans doesn't play well on the road, but at home, New Orleans is a great pick. I go Saints.
I go Saints as well. The San Francisco 49ers against the Washington Redheads.
It's going to be a blank. I mean, it's going to be a complete wash. San Francisco.
Yeah, I agree with the doctor. I mean, really, John Beck? I don't think so. San Francisco.
It's a wash. San Francisco. The Cleveland Brownies against the Houston Mexicans.
Houston, I'm picking Houston, but Frank Gore ran all over Cleveland last week. I'm looking for Arian Foster to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, Houston had a little bit of a problem last week beating Jacksonville, but I think Houston pulls it out this week and takes their dominance in the AFC South.
All right, the Cincinnati Bungles
Bungles.
versus the Tennessee Two Steps.
Wow, this is a good game.
This is going to be a good game. This might be one of the best games of the week.
Yes, it might be.
I'm picking the Bengals.
Again, we miss Matt Hasselbeck in Seattle. We definitely need him back. He's playing phenomenal football in Tennessee. I mean, they don't have Chris Johnson anymore. He's not playing well. He's maybe averaging 2.9 yards a carry per game. That's abysmal for someone of his caliber. Matt Hasselbeck is leading this offense to victories. I say Tennessee.
I say Cincinnati.
All right.
The Denver T-Fails.
I thought it was Failbows.
Failbows. Either way, Failbows,
Yeah.
T-Fails, it's all the same. Against the Oakland Raiders.
That Oakland defense is just going to make Tebow run even more for his life. Tebow is going to have a better game because of the secondary of Oakland, but their front boys are just too strong. I'm going Oakland.
Tebow got rattled last week against the Detroit Cowardly Lions, losing 45-10. I don't see Tebow coming back this week. Oakland's got a terrific defense. I picked the Raiders.
For some reason.
Oh my God!
I don't know why.
Call it fate.
I don't know why.
Are you Tebowing? Are you
I'm
Tebowing?
T-bowing. And I'm T-bowing my way to a Raider victory. How about that?
All that for no. All that
Yeah.
for whatever.
The New York Football Gargantuans against the New England Unpatriotics.
I'm going the Patriots. They're not going to lose 2 in a row.
Patriots. The Giants aren't playing that well anyway.
The
Patriots.
Giants are coming off a win, although it was a
Barely.
struggle. They do have Eli Manning, who is playing very good.
He's the best Manning playing right now.
Really? But I go Tom Fail in the Patriots.
Yeah, I pick my new favorite team.
The Arizona Fighting Cardinals versus the St. Louis Lambs.
Be a lamb.
This is going to be a good game just
Whoa,
because...
wait a minute. I forgot to mention timeout. The toilet bowl game of the week.
Oh,
The Arizona Fighting Cardinals versus the
It is
St.
not
Louis
going to be.
Lambs.
It's going to be 2 of the worst teams, but it's going to make it a good game. God, I don't even know what I'm going to say. Why I'm going to say this. The Lambs looked damn impressive last week. I'm going with St. Louis.
The Cardinals, they're not playing very well. They're definitely a disappointing team. So I think you should be a lamb and pick the Lambs.
I say to heck with the Lambs and go with the Cardinals.
Be a lamb, Jimmy. Be a lamb.
All right. The Green Bay freaking Epics
The Green Bay undefeateds.
versus the San Diego Philip Fails.
Appropriately. I'm going Green Bay.
Man, I mean, we'll get into
The fumble heard around the world.
yeah, San Diego had that game wrapped up, and
How do you not just
I mean,
kick a field
pretty
goal?
much Phil Rivers coughed up the game. I picked the Packers.
The Packers, they may not lose a game all year. Said it
You
once.
could have a team go 16-0 and 0-16.
All right. Probably the game of the week.
Definitely.
Yet again, it
Definitely.
involves
A big, like I said before, like I said in the football special, a great rivalry in the AFC North, the Baltimore Crab Cakes.
Whoa, no, they have a new name this
Oh,
week.
they do? Okay.
They do have a new name. You weren't privy to it. He was.
Okay.
But I will reveal it in a second.
Okay.
But second week in a row, the Steelers are involved in the NFL game of the week. And if CBS screws this one up and doesn't put it on TV,
They put the Bungles and the Sea Chickens on.
that's a fail. I'm sorry. Everybody wanted to see New England versus Pittsburgh, not the Sea Chickens versus the Bungles.
I think it's because the Bungles are the local team.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Baltimore Ratbirds.
Ratbirds?
Yeah, that's what a raven is, a rat bird.
Oh, right.
Deal with it.
All right,
Make your selection.
Crab Cakes. What about, he goes first. He's top down.
I'm
Now on top.
going with
Are they playing in Pittsburgh?
Yes, Heinz Field.
it kills
That's
me to
tough.
say this.
That's tough.
The drubbing that they gave the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first game.
I love that.
I loved it too, every second of it. I don't think it happens again. I think you are going to see some home cooking. I'm going Pittsburgh.
This is the toughest game of the week. They're playing in Pittsburgh. This is a big game for Baltimore because if they win, they have a huge advantage in the AFC North. I pick Baltimore.
I pick Pittsburgh.
Okay. I pick Baltimore. I think Baltimore.
The Monday Night Football game of the week. The Chicago Black Bears against the Philadelphia I Hate Michael Vick. They're a fail.
That's a long nickname.
I know.
I'm going with Philly. They're on a roll.
I mean, we saw the game on
Sunday night.
Sunday
At Chubby Ray's.
Sunday night. Local Chubby Rays. Michael Vick's receivers were wide open. The Hills were alive with the sound of wide open receivers. I don't know if Eagles can do that against the Bears defense.
Would you make your pick already?
Jesus Christ.
All right. I picked the Bears. Jeez.
I picked the Bears too. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
So with that wraps up the pick'ems for week 9.
I did want to talk about some games. We touched on a couple of them.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. Who are the buys this week?
I totally forgot, but I know
Lions.
the Jackson failed Jaguars, the Cowardly Lions, and 2 other teams.
The Vikings.
The Vikings
and
the looks like the. This is unprofessional.
I know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's one of
They're
them.
not playing.
They're not playing, and they're probably a fail anyway.
The Eagles embarrassed the Cowboys 34-7 on Monday Night Football, which is what
Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night. Fail.
The Bills blank the Redskins
In Toronto.
3-0.
And stat for I know you both love stats. That is the first time Buffalo's won in Toronto.
Those crazy mother Canuckers.
The Vikings beat the Panthers down to the wire 24-21. And the largest history was made, the largest comeback in Ravens history.
In Ratbird's history.
Ratbird's history over the Cardinals 30-27, and the look on Larry Fitzgerald's face said it all to me.
They shouldn't have come back in that game. I mean, they shouldn't have been down to begin with, but props to the Ravens for keep fighting. What's that for?
I figure you want to participate.
Oh, and what?
Well, apparently it's a new thing now. Synthetic marijuana in WWE is
Whoa!
a new thing.
Whoa!
I mean, first you have Heath Slater. And Darren Young.
And didn't we pass his restaurant on the way home from OVW?
I think so.
Asian Moon.
Oh my God! Really?
Wow. I thought you were going to be Wendy's.
No, Asian Moon.
And now, Evan Bourne.
Some were born to fly. He was born to get suspended.
He was born to get high.
He was born to get high.
30 days. So now you go from fail to just fail.
No, it's just fail.
It's
Yeah.
just boom. But it's been reported that tonight the SmackDown tapings, well actually yesterday because this is Wednesday, the SmackDown tapings there will be a new tag team champion crowned. As of this broadcast, it will be on the Triple Threat Talk Facebook page. So go to facebook.com/Triple Threat Talk and you will see the new WWE Tag Team Champions.
Should be interesting. I mean, big news there. Also, more big news with the release of Maurice. I know.
Why?
What do you think The Miz says about this?
That's not awesome.
I think The Miz says, that's for babies.
I don't know what to think about it. But anyway.
That was a
Anyway.
fail. But, so, Maurice is released. Evan Bourne suspended. The Rock has decided to make an appearance. Which, by the way, in 2 weeks, a special 3-hour Raw gets
Rocked.
That's pretty awesome. I'm kind of excited.
No, it's 2.
2 weeks?
2 weeks from
3 weeks in Survivor Series.
3 weeks to Survivor Series, 2 weeks to the Raw gets rocked. But last night, The Rock did make an appearance via satellite.
Of course, like he always does.
Like he always does. And the question on everybody's mind, what would Rocky say in response to John Cena's request?
Well, it turns out he is the people's champion. He went with the people and said yes, albeit reluctantly.
Survivor Series, you have Miz Truth or Awesome Truth or whatever they want to be called against The Rock and John Cena.
I think this is a good business move on their behalf because, we all know that the road to WrestleMania kind of, sort of, walking starts at Survivor Series. You see a lot of stuff
Kind
play
of gets
out.
the cane out and
Yeah.
slowly gets
Slowly
out there.
gets-
Put the Tooth Fairy
Of
costume
course,
on.
everything really starts going at.
Watch it. We're
Everything-
filming G.I. Joe right now, so leave him
Oh,
alone.
okay.
Everything really starts going, of course, at the Rumble, but it really kind of
Right.
somewhat begins
Yeah.
at Survivor
Right,
Series.
absolutely. I mean, it's great that they're doing this. They're letting The Rock fight in the first place that he debuted pay-per-view wise. So that's good. It's definitely going to be a ratings getter. Everybody knows The Rock draws the ratings.
Absolutely.
I mean, all they have to say is The Rock's going to be on TV. And I mean, last night Raw drew almost 5 million viewers.
Right.
So I mean,
I think it has something to do with the Muppets.
Yeah, the
Thank-
Muppets were awesome.
Speaking of the Muppets, I'm sure you were quite hilarious and thought that was quite freaking funny.
It was pretty fun.
That Kermit the Frog, Kermit the Frog here live on WWE Monday Night Raw.
You know, it's not easy being green.
I know. What are you, Miss Piggy?
Yeah, Kermit.
Please help me.
I thought he was Gonzo myself.
Whoa!
Turns out he needed an adjustment last
He
night.
did. He got
From
it.
Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler.
But anyway, Cody Rhodes decides to put a bag on Kermit's head. That's a fail.
That was awesome.
That's frog abuse.
Where's Peter?
Exactly.
Frog abuse is not cool.
No, it is not. So,
Don't stick firecrackers up their butt.
No.
Please don't.
What?
People do that.
That's a fail.
Moving on.
People do that. I'm sorry.
Moving on. So,
Moving on.
last night, of match interest, CM Punk came out and was scheduled to fight Mark Henry with the stipulation that if CM Punk wins, he gets to fight Alberto Del Rio at Survivor Series. But what happens?
Mark Henry wins.
Because
what?
Ricardo Rodriguez.
Ricardo.
But it's okay because later on in the night,
CM Punk fights the big slow.
Alberto fights the big.
Yeah, thank
The
you.
big fail. The man who's probably gonna make me kill myself.
Yeah.
and of course, I'm not sure if it was so obvious for you all, but I called it. My girlfriend was over at the house. I told her exactly what was going to happen as soon as CM Punk walked down that ring. I don't know if it was obvious to you all, but I told her Anaconda Vice until he says yes.
That was perfect.
That's
awesome.
exactly what he did.
Yeah.
He gave him the Anaconda Vice.
Which I love that move. That move is just awesome.
So now we have official Survivor Series is going to be CM Punk against Alberto Del Rio for the WWE Championship.
Yep.
And we had John Cena versus The Miz. And a rematch of
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
This time the outcome was different. John Cena was victorious via STF.
STF.
Watch your mouth.
I said STF,
Oh.
not STFU.
And apparently the Michael Cole challenge didn't happen.
Been delayed because Jared has, what do you call it, IBS?
I don't know.
Irritable bowel syndrome.
Something like that. Or he think he called it inflamed.
He's
bowel.
lying through his teeth.
He's a fail.
Michael Cole is
Michael
not
Cole's
epic.
a liar.
Michael Cole's a
It's a
jackwagon.
fail.
Anyway, so good week this week in wrestling. Obviously heading towards Survivor Series with The Rock and John Cena teaming up as the big thing going on. I don't know if they're going to do anything with Triple H and Kevin Nash. They do say Triple H does have 5 weeks out till he comes back. Maybe they bring him back to Survivor Series to face Nash. I don't know yet, but Survivor Series looks pretty good on it right now.
So moving on from that is our weekly wild card session, and unfortunately, like a couple episodes ago, we kind of got to bring it down a couple levels. And
Y'all go ahead and do your alls, and then
Yeah, he should end
I'll end the show.
Okay.
So obviously the show is long this week, so
we have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
I mean,
we know we have faithful viewers. So this past week we went to OVW
10 times. 10 times.
Oh.
10 times.
What? We'll get to that. Let's go from the bottom up.
10 times.
Okay. Anyway, so
I gotta make it to 10. It may take me another hour.
anyway, so it was your second time being at OVW. The first time you weren't too pleased with it.
I was like, it's okay.
But the
Needs improvement.
second time you were cheering. You loved it. You know.
It was epic. I mean, Doctor, if you were there, you would have said it was epic.
I mean, I don't know how many of my OVW talent people that are my friends on Facebook watch the show, but I was impressed with Raphael Constantine. Huge fan of Raphael Constantine.
He's a fail.
I've said it before. I put it on your Facebook page, Marcus. Please make sure this is your nickname because it fits you to a T. Marcus Anthony, the one-man army. The man does the F5 and he does it very well.
Where was my man at? I'm disappointed.
Oh, Alex Silva?
That was one thing I was disappointed
I don't
in.
know. But the highlight of the night, OVW heavyweight champion Jason Wayne tagged with Nick Eugene Dinsmore in a match against Rudy Switchblade and
Mike Mundo.
right, Mikey from the Spirit Squad.
Yeah.
Jason Wayne and Eugene were victorious, but something happened that was confusing to me.
Jason Wayne never got in the match. And it wasn't because he didn't want in the match. It wasn't because he didn't try to get in the match. It was because Nick Dinsmore, a.k.a. Eugene, never tagged him in.
What's up with that?
Well, apparently, after the match, Jason Wayne called out Nick Dinsmore and said, "What's up?" He's like, "Well, you didn't shake my hand, and you didn't this, and you didn't that, and you have no respect." Well, come to find out, as always, there's an underlying thing to everything, and we found out that Nick Dinsmore wanted a title shot.
Yeah.
So
He got his title shot.
He got his title shot. And with the little help of Jason Wayne busting himself wide
and using the OVW title to his advantage.
And using the OVW title to his advantage.
And using the OVW title to his advantage.
We have a new 10-time world OVW champion, Nick Eugene Dinsmore.
Woohoo.
So the show went from a 9.5, 10 to a 7, all because Dinsmore won the title. The doctor is about to lose it over here.
I think he needs a
I
minute.
think that might be a Eugene's IQ as
Whoa!
well.
Whoa! That's right, Nick Dinsmore. You suck. You cheated. Jason Wayne is the rightful champion, and you know it, buddy.
The Jason Wayne, America's hero, the Marine, the real Marine, not John Cena, should be OVW champion. And I guarantee that one day, real soon, maybe even at Saturday Night Special in 2 weeks, OVW will have a new champion. It will be once again Jason Wayne.
Absolutely. So, all right, Doctor, let's end the show with your wild card.
Last week, something very tragic happened. I don't even know how to begin it. A very close personal friend of mine, and Big B met him a couple times, and PostMaster met him a couple times. Matthew Noel Booker. Somebody, there are very few people that I would mention on the show. If they passed away, it would be sad, and we'd probably put them in memory sticker up there, but I know the name doesn't mean anything to anyone about you guys, but I do want you to hear, he was a gamer, he was a lover of wrestling, he was a lover of people. The man never met a stranger. I think what really makes the story tragic is he was 24 years old, died of complications, medical complications. He's been fighting a medical condition with a good prognosis, had a great prognosis, and he just, I don't know, he was a fighter to the end. I've known him for years. Somebody wanted to start talking about personal things. I played a card game, I don't mind saying it, called Yu-Gi-Oh! Very popular card game, and that's where I met this guy. He just loved everybody. He was, like I said, there's just no words I can tell you to explain the level of passion this man had for other people. And everybody who met him liked him. He was just one of those guys. Tragically passed away, and I just felt that, since he was a lover of everything we talk about and stand for on this show, that I should mention it. On a humorous note, his brother told me, and I want to say this to kind of bring the show up a little bit. His brother told me that after he passed away, he was telling all of his friends, he got on PlayStation Network to let his friends know. Matthew loved Sony. Loved everything Sony. Hated Xbox. Hated Microsoft. Wasn't too big of an Apple fan either. When he turned on the Sony PlayStation 3, it yellow lighted.
Oh, wow.
And he said that his brother said that who says you can't take it with you when you die. I mean, it was just, if there's anything funny, and Matthew would not want us to be sad. I'm definitely devastated, as was the family. Like I said, he's just such a great guy. He would want us to rejoice and live his life. He was a lover of wrestling. He was a big Christian fan. Big Christian fan. And it's the small things we do in life that put the big things in perspective. Buddy, this one's for you. You're going to be missed.